Hello, welcome back to the channel. I'm Zach Markowski, and here at Sharper Pen, I focus on literary analysis, art and culture, critique, especially of that which is human, meaning our appearance, our behavior, our communication, and also our concepts, ideas, and philosophy. And originally, I wasn't even planning on recording today, but I happened across this video and it inspired me. Heading over here, we have who I just discovered today, City Tutoring Math. It's a channel, and let me go ahead and subscribe. And it's a channel where Mr. what's his name? Alfred Pufflestuff? No, Cromwell, where Mr. Cromwell here discusses culture as a means to draw an audience in for his math classes. And as an American, I can say it feels good to support something more intellectually oriented. It's not just banana, banana, banana. But we're going to get to that.
Good evening, everyone. First, I want to thank all of my new subscribers. This channel
You're
continues
welcome.
to grow, and as I promised you many times, we're going to just continue fighting the good fight. That's what we do here. And I think you're going to find this interesting, those of you who are studying higher education and all the scams that define modern day America, right? Because the
No,
majority of American people today in
no.
2025.
Okay, he's right. It's like one big Ponzi scheme from the tax man on down, even maybe your ex-wife, right? Everyone is here to take from you. Everyone knows it, and it's a fundamental problem of not just American human beings, but people everywhere. And that's everyone wants more than they have and they take more than they give. So do the math. It means most everyone is going to be missing out in this equation.
Your life is one big scam. You're getting
No,
fleeced
no. Okay, he's right.
and you're getting scammed by at least one person, or at least if you're not,
Real quick, it's the elite theory of rule, or however it goes, that a organized few will always rule the disorganized masses. There's something eternally recurrent to this.
and some of us aren't, but if you're not, that means, but you still have to be always very vigilant because we're living in a society that is based on a lie. So
In all seriousness, he's right. You should watch yourself. You should take care of yourself. Don't trust anyone. No one needs your money. I mean, everyone wants it, but no one actually needs it beyond the fact that they want it. So there's no reason for you to really give anyone your money for any reason. But, that's America for you. But he says it's a lie, and he's being too European here. No offense, good sir. You are being aristocratically European in your sensibilities here. We in America, we're not about transcendence. That was a European ideal that lived with Kant and Hegel and history, and it died there and it blew up in the 20th century, where America is a country not of transcendence, not of immanence, but a country, an extroverted psychopathic country that says, show me the money. If you think about monkeys and you think about bananas, the monkey's not concerned with the philosophy of the banana, doesn't want to know where the banana came from, isn't concerned about genus, species, studying the banana genetically. The monkey just wants the banana. So America is an extroverted culture, is a show me the banana culture. So this idea that it's a lie, it's no, 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 it's paradox, meaning we act ironically or cynically at its worst to cope with the fact that nothing about our way of life and our capital, aka our intelligence, indicates that we live according to morals or values whatsoever. And this is best indicated in modernity with the saying, like someone from, he was either Taylor Swift or Joseph Stalin, but he said, the death of one is a tragedy, and the death of a million is unambitious, or statistics, rather. And that's to say, as Carl Jung once said, famous Swiss alchemist, as Jung said, that statistical reality for humans is that a million zeros added up never equals one. So the herd can never equal the one, right? The herd can never be the carrier of consciousness that the one is kind of what Jung is saying there. And more specifically, what he said is that when you compare the value of the life of an individual to the value of the life of the many, the hundreds, the thousands, the millions, of course the individual becomes a minute absurdity who doesn't matter anymore. So again, sir, it's not that we're dealing with lies, it's that our country exists in a paradoxical state where we have to lie to ourselves and one another and seduce ourselves and one another back to sleep and forgetfulness so we can pretend that we live somewhere we don't, right? That's why we go to utopia. America is utopia realized, and utopia is nowhere, right? And since things are already perfect here, if you have something to complain about, you're the malcontent. And also, it doesn't just mean that you're the malcontent. It means that you have to understand that perfection has already been achieved, utopia has already been realized. So there's nothing imminent, there's nothing to transcend. So it's not a lie, sir. It's fluffing the truth. Let's say it's a good. That's a good what do you call it? Porn term, right? Fluffing.
Unfortunately, I say this with a bit of nostalgia because I was blessed by God to see what a free country truly looked like, and we
Well, honestly, I could say the same thing myself, especially living between two ages, between not just two millennia, not just living through multiple decades, not just being between two ages and the obsolescence of the old in light of the new. Also, that kind of no one was there paying attention and no one had the mediums in which to share the fact that they were so nihilistic, jaded, upset to begin with. So, really, no one was paying attention. We had the luxury to not pay attention, is what you mean. Or better yet, we all had that luxury of childhood. Actually, we all didn't have it. We were fortunate if we had the luxury of a childhood we'd want to be nostalgic for. So remember, as we old men wax poetic, as we always do, this has been going on for countless generations, for thousands of years. We've been fooling ourselves into say, hey, things aren't like what they used to be. Oh, you don't say. You mean we don't live in a frozen block of ice? Life is a hot activity where things live and die. I'm getting carried away. I want to make clear here that if what I say is sharp or has barbs, it is not at Cromwell. And I like him, and he's actually who inspired me to even record at this moment. I'm just filling in the details. And again, this is a math video.
are no longer a free country in any way, for the
No,
exception of a few cosmetic
no.
things. But so
What green beans, Coke or Pepsi?
so it pains me to make these kinds of videos. And the academic year, it's already the end of May, and for the most part, the academic year, God help us, has finally come to a close, and not a moment too soon. The Ivy League, the Ivy has wilted, the tuition bills blossom, and our once great universities, those proud beacons of learning, have completed yet another lap in their long, slow march of decline from aspiring cathedral of some kind.
Hey, capital or intelligence requires a moral substructure. That's the need for our lie. I mean, our paradox. I mean, our story or history, right?
Influenced by the Christian religion to the circus tent that can describe most colleges today. I'm not saying all. There are some amazing exceptions.
A lot of us realized while we were in school here in America, when we were in college decades ago, like I could see back then, like, oh, this isn't an institution for men. It's not an institution for people who are alive and awake. This is where thought goes to die by most of the kind of borderline nihilistic, jaded, probably too wealthy and pampered people around me. I could just see this is not an these aren't institutions for men. They're not even for human beings. They're for whatever subhuman mold America has made for the animal man, in my opinion, in my estimation. But this is just what I saw. I mean, please comment with what you saw because I saw nihilism, fakeness, hatred, stupidity, waste, squander. Everyone thinks they're going to be something great, but again, everyone takes more than they give and they want more than they have. So really, it's just a bunch of psychopaths. And I don't even want to say the word narcissist because I think narcissist is just a kind of dumb people speak for a certain haughtiness of intellect, right? They've always been like this, and then you're fooling yourself to think that people aren't playing games and people aren't hustling, and like that was a belief that was afforded to naive people due to morality, which the intelligence or the capital requires, so people can't actually see what you're doing or they'd be upset. Think of the Vietnam War, right? If no one saw it, it wouldn't be a problem. Same thing with Palestine right now. If no one saw it, it wouldn't be a problem. Who cares? Anyway, keep going.
in America today. And I'm blessed to know some of them. But I'm talking about the very well known colleges. They really are a circus, a motley crew of just, it's a freak show, really.
Do, do, do,
Now, you
do,
may be
do,
thinking,
do, do,
oh,
do, do.
some of you, I've seen this in some comments, I've seen it on X, formerly known as Twitter. Some people are very ignorant and they'll say, oh, the professor is simply bitter. Cromwell is bitter.
Sir Cromwell has had too many sour North Derbyshire puddings. He is a bitter individual.
But no, what I am is just simply wide awake. I'm far from bitter. I'm actually a very happy person. If anything, people always ask me. The one of the most common criticisms I get of people
Too
around me is,
happy
"Why are you always so energetic? You're always so positive." That's
because he's alive, because he's got some sort of spirit inside him, because he's got original thoughts boiling around in his head that keep him going.
because I have
Something
God,
like that.
and that's because if you know the truth and if you have a proper life, there's nothing to be depressed about on a personal level. When I say that I'm upset, it's mostly because I'm upset at how so many people don't see what's going on.
As usual, it's the rest of you. You see the problem? See what us intelligent people have to deal with?
That's what makes me upset. But I'm personally a very happy person.
Me
I'm a
too.
satisfied person.
Dang it.
And if
I
you
know what he
knew
means.
what I know, you'd be clutching your pocketbook and your child, if you have one, by the collar.
Yes, don't, if an American's talking, they're lying. If they're trying to sell you something, don't buy it. Don't believe it. Don't buy it. I don't care if it's Spotify. I don't care if it's Netflix. I don't care if it's Coca-Cola. I don't care if it's your mother. She's probably trying to sell you a scam because she bought into the scam and now she owes her life to the corporation or Avon or Tupperware, right? It's always been this way. Pushy salespeople trying to get your pocketbook, but he's right. Be careful. Guard your children.
And running for the nearest vocational school.
That too.
You see, we're not merely witnessing decline in this country, we are witnessing a carefully choreographed, it's really a heist
Controlled burn
that
is what I've called it.
masquerades as education. The American university has become sort of a Ponzi scheme for prestige. It's a decadent, grinning carnival, Barker waving ivy colored pom poms and whispering, "You're special," right before they slap a $250,000 invoice on you
Moo. What can you say but moo, right? Why would you believe them?
and shove you into a lifetime of debt servitude.
Especially if
America
you don't
has
know
become
somebody.
one big prison colony for debtors. It's really what it is.
He's right, and I've discussed this at length on the channel. The schools resemble the factories resemble the prisons, and in this society that is one big carceral gulag, everyone is treated like children. And even what our parents and grandparents used to call adulthood, right, which was just normal life to them, even back then it was just a kind of glorified high school era, right? It was the same gossip, it was the same nonsense in most cases. Very few people ever got out of the same class they were born into, so everyone's been suffering wherever they were born all along for the most part.
I don't have the statistics with me right now, but they were talking about how so many millions of students are debtors right now in America. And the interesting, well, not interesting, the sad part about it is,
Yeah, it's a real quick. It is a really screwed up way to try to build a future, especially if you know your economic history. And I don't necessarily mean capitalism going back to the Dutch and the inventing of double entry accounting and all that stuff. I just mean, in the last few decades, what it's been like, how it worked with people going into the workforce or going to school, making enough money to immediately start a family. Like that all used to be normal. But as things got screwed up, well, things got screwed up that and not that any of that was something that was here to stay to begin with, right? So we can't even model our ideas as if to say, oh, that was ideal. It's like, no, that was a place and time, and now it's long long gone and it's never coming back.
Very few Americans today fight back. Most
They don't.
Americans today are passive people. They are
Nope.
not freedom lovers. They
They've
are
always
not
been.
the sort of vigilant people. That's why we're not a free country.
It's
Because
just because the cluster mess allows everyone to stab each other in the back enough to try to get their chance at the top. That's why we kind of have our conformist social agreements and pacts that we do. It's like with friends like these, who needs enemies? Or it's like a bunch of women, right? You can't really say that there's a leader. It's largely just a big pecking order.
the founding fathers said that in order to keep a republic, you had to have the right population for it. We certainly don't have the right population
No,
for it.
dude, Greeks height, they had a couple thousand voters. And these were people with land and property and kids, so they were invested and cared about the society versus I don't know why we have so many people who just they have no it's crazy that we create so many disenfranchised people that have no stake in the society and also who in turn turn against it. I don't just mean disenfranchisement and homelessness. I mean people who actively work against it or turn into terrorists, are nihilistic school shooters, these commonplace occurrences actually.
That's why most people are slaves. Now, if that sounds dramatic, good, because it's really a sleight of hand that is so brazen that Houdini himself would have blushed. Apply now, they cry. And they flood your mailboxes with personalized letters that make your child feel like the chosen one.
Hey, person number 5629 of this semester is a very unique candidate for XYZ school. Come, live, laugh, love, right? Whatever their stupid slogan is.
But let me let you in on a little secret. I'll save you a lot of pain. They're not. They're just another log on the fire of artificially inflated rejection rates.
We fuel our civilization with the blood of the living children. So I don't know what else you want us to do about it, sir.
It's not about education, it's about rankings, optics, and marketing fluff.
Live,
That's
laugh,
why so
love.
many people don't like this channel. A lot of people like this channel, but there's a lot of people who don't. Because I'm not here to give you what you want to hear. I'm here to tell you the truth.
This may be the last ad you ever see.
Truth.
Because with the free ad block extension from Capital One Shopping, you can say goodbye to ads on
See how they
sites like
get you?
YouTube.
And I think in the long run, you will appreciate it more than people who tell you lies. And in fact, the whole ordeal would be laughable if it weren't so wicked. You have the common application. It was once a noble
I'm
idea,
wicked, I
and
guess.
now it's an assembly line of delusion.
Again, factory farm model liberalism turns people into cattle, turning mankind, the planet, into cattle. There's no other way around it.
Need blind, we hear a lot these days about need blind admissions. It's as believable as a $3 bill. Financial aid, it's a Trojan horse filled with unsubsidized loans and parental bankruptcy for the most part. And as for the poor student who works two jobs and maybe dares to dream, well,
A dream tax.
let me tell you all something. The system can smell your poverty from a
Hmm.
mile away. It knows your zip code like a mugshot and polite.
Real quick, basically the biggest indicator of wealth and status and credit rating and all those things in life is your zip code. So it's demographics, really. Demographics are destiny. It's a marketing thing. Marketing is like the biggest thing in this country and has been, at least formerly was, probably still is, has been for a long time. It's the witchcraft behind the scenes, it's the man pulling the levers behind Oz. It really is another, it's like a parasite on the parasite of capital, if you will.
Politely tells you, thanks, but we're full for now. Now, I must ask you all, what sort of civilization does this to its young people? What kind of nation
A hateful and nihilistic one. That's the kind of civilization that does this. that produces people who say, what's the point of me? Why do I exist? I have nothing to believe in, nothing to live for. My country's horrible. These people are horrible. This place is, right? You see the problem? Yeah, it's a snowball runaway effect here.
uh, turns its universities into financial meat grinders where ambition enters and later on regret emerges.
Well, if you're smart, again, you would have recognized school is no place for men, no place for human beings. You would have dropped out, or you would have found something else better to do with your time in your life, because you recognize that your family didn't live and die countless generations for you to be one more pointless ditch digger, one more worthless accountant, one more whatever cog that's going to be replaced by machinery, or machinery is in computers is in AI, right? I'm not saying, we're not here in the sense that we work for one another in various ways, like a convoluted form of slavery. I'm just pointing out that there's more to it than this.
But don't despair, I've written something. It's a little blog post. It's not a screed, mind you. It's a sober
Civilized.
look at the grotesque mechanics behind the curtain. I nearly titled it How American Universities Play You Like a Fiddle. But alas, I feared that some dear souls, we have a lot of delicate people now these days, they might swoon.
Yes, they would die if they had to live anywhere real or hard, or if they had to live in any one of the war-torn nations that have been being bombed by us or others forever. Americans wouldn't be able to survive anywhere where reality or history is still happening. We really do have just a weak and decayed culture. It's very obvious.
And so instead, I offered you some concise truths, each one uglier than the last, or than the previous ones you'll see, about the racket that is today that is still called for some reason higher education. There's nothing higher about it, and there's nothing educational about it.
Well, to be fair, the kids are usually getting really friggin' high on something, at least Adderall, right? Study for their ADHD.
Anything from false promises to weaponized rejection rates. You have predatory aid packages and cynical exploitation of really, if I may use the term, poor people, poor youth, working class youth. If
Right? No pity, no mercy. Don't be a fool. Don't fall for it. Don't fall into the American trap.
you're going to use the Marxist term.
It's time to get back to work.
Ah, that's all we ever do. Come
We
on,
have to
man.
learn to perform
I'm
without
working right
motivation.
now. I got
Just
off earlier.
It's all in there. It's I try to document as much as possible, but you can correct me if you find any inconsistency in it. But I think I'm very accurate on these things for the most part. I might be outdated in a few things though, because I haven't checked. I didn't have.
Nah, as a kind of general, in terms of a rank and order standard of values, nah, I appreciate what you're doing, and you're perfectly on point and making reasonable demands of any adult listener. However, in America, I don't know how many adult listeners you could possibly have. It's going to be a gross minority.
Have time to check every single thing. So if you've ever wondered why your child's acceptance letter feels more like a sales brochure,
Oh, by the way, and I recognize I'm not qualifying these terms. When I'm thinking adult, I'm thinking a human being who doesn't live life as a series of rational choices or as a program that someone else set up for them. I mean it is someone who lives and dies by their values, their what they seek and want in life. They're not imposters. They're not trying to fill someone else's mold. Right, these are rare human beings. Maybe it's just a luxury to be that strong in a world that otherwise tears people apart.
or why your neighbors, uh, I've known people who have a C minus student and a son who's a C minus student, and they got into that sort of so-called elite college, and your A student daughter was waitlisted, or why debt now seems to be a graduation requirement. I implore you to read my blog post because
Real quick, Not going to do that for the video because it take too long. It's trying to be a quick recording here. But by all means, I encourage you to check out his YouTube channel and then check out his blog post.
While universities may have forgotten their purpose, we must not. And with that, I bid you Godspeed, good sense, and just better judgment. We need a country of people who know how to judge people better than what we do.
Do, 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 do. Come on, sir. It's show me the banana. When our standards are show me the banana, right? Again, it's not transcendence, it's not immanence. We're not about concepts, we're not about theory or philosophy. We're about can you make anything out of that? If you can't do that and show it to me right now, go home. Show me the money, show me the banana. If not, we don't even want to hear about it. We're just that shallow and absurd. But he's right. He's not wrong. I'm not saying American values are superior. I'm just pointing it out.
We have too many people on their phones. We have too many people distracted by all kinds.
Too many people dependent and who refuse and cannot admit the fact that their lives are those of utter dependence on all the people around them. And this is everyone in the modern age because everything has become so diffuse and dispersed, right? But there's this insane amount of dependence and this falseness and pretension towards self-reliance, nonconformity, all these humanistic kind of old, high-minded, transcendental European values that just don't apply in America, where again, our morals and our values are non-existent because we worship money. Anyway,
of carnal desires. And I realize it's late in the day. It's really late for me, actually, but I figured I was going to take a walk anyway. So I figured I might as well. I promised you
walk
earlier
sounds
I was going to
nice.
do it,
A walk sounds nice, good sir. I would go with you if I could.
that I was going to produce a video. So here we are. And the link's in the description, by the way. You may comment on the blog post. I prefer answering comments on the blog because they don't get lost as often. They're more organized than they are on YouTube. And also, YouTube has a lot of trolls. I found it
Bots.
interesting the other day because someone sent me something, and I didn't even know the term, by the way, because I'm so removed from all of that. Someone was saying, some ignorant people were saying that that I was too extreme. And then
He's being a perfectly reasonable, moderate, and civilized gentleman. He hasn't said anything barbaric or wicked, and he's being highly critical of those around them and their inability or refusal to use their capacities. Whichever it is, same difference.
another person wrote that I was in the. They said, "Oh, he's living in the 19th century." No, I'm living in the 21st century. But my principles are, if you have good principles are timeless and eternal.
Now, this is our European snobbery. This is our mythology. But when he says, if you have a good, he's about to say, if you don't have a good foundation, you have nothing. He's right. It's otherwise perfectly normal for Americans to have a life, a wife, a kid, kids, family, responsibilities, jobs. They have nice things, they have money, and they have no idea who or what they are. They might know, they might not know, they might go to therapy, they might not, but ultimately it's all at the whims and behest of a larger machine and organization, and the rest is generally medicated away. So there's something real funny going on here. We have something in our water, so to speak.
They're not about living in one century or the other. They're about God's truths. And
Americans
so
are modern.
I think the problem is that so many people today, they're not used to hearing people who are sure of their convictions. It
I know. It does bother them, right? Because you would too if you didn't have a self. You would just go, what's this itching, gnawing? What is it about this person that's bothering me? Right? How unfortunate that I hear something and I feel ways about it. Now I have to look at myself. Pff, how dare you, sir?
bothers people. That it bothers some people that some of us do know in what direction we want to go. I feel sorry for you. You know what?
I don't. I don't feel sorry for you. I don't feel pity. And at the end of the day, people might give you lip service, but no one else does because no one's got time for that. Everyone's wired into their own survival trip. They got their own shit. They got the same shit that you got to deal with. So, this country, these people are going to grow up or they're just going to die. I don't, He's saying he's being harsh. I'm taking it to its logical conclusion. You don't want to play the game? Cool. You just won't pass on your genes. You won't have a life. You won't have friends. Those kinds of things, right?
Wonder there's so much depression in this country.
Naturally. Absolutely.
You've been taught to be
Drug
to doubt
abuse,
everything
etc.
rather than, of course, you should always investigate things and you should always make sure that
He's talking about extreme cynicism, the extreme cynicism to the point of passive nihilism. That shit's fatal.
your thinking is rigorous. But if you have no foundation, you are a nobody.
Yep.
But
You're
anyway,
right.
the link's in the description. Read it while you still believe.
I'm going to stop there because it's about over. But Mr. Cromwell got that right. If you don't have a foundation, you got nothing. So, stay in school as much as you can tolerate it to the degrees that it benefits you. Don't believe any Americans. Don't buy anything they sell. I know that's ironic given what's going on here. And then from there, check out Mr. Cromwell's channel, City Tutoring Math. I guess it's mostly about math, but he gets into these kind of humanitarian issues. And again, I'm Zach Markowski, Sharper Pen Image Consulting. Thanks for checking out the channel. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Share the content if you know someone who would also appreciate it, because YouTube doesn't necessarily market or support its people, the people who use the platform. And from there, if we're so fortunate as to be here tomorrow and the day after that or the next time, I will see you then, and take care.